Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me on this Saturday for a little card rummage. Have this stack of random cards here that's been sitting on my bookshelf that you often see in the background of my videos. Just random stuff I've kind of accumulated that I need to process and get sorted into the collection, and it's been sitting there for months. I think these cards came from all different sources, and time to kind of just deal with that and get those put away. So I'm going to thumb through those in a second here. But before we get to that, I wanted to show another Ovechkin card. I did pledge here at the outset of the season to show a new Alex Ovechkin card anytime he scored a goal this year. And this past Tuesday night against the Avalanche, he did get on the board again with his fourth goal of the early season here. And chose this one that I got in a few months back from Sport Lots. This is a fantastic retro parallel out of 2008-2009 O-Pee-Chee. And what these are a throwback to the 1979-80 hockey release, which is, of course, the Wayne Gretzky, rookie season. And in my opinion, the single greatest hockey card set ever made. So in 2008, in the O-Pee-Chee set, you could get these parallels from Upper Deck. They paralleled the entire 600 card lower series O-Pee-Chee hockey set in these. They also did the update set as well. I went kind of nuts for these back in 2008 just because I do love the original 79 so much. And I actually completed the entire 600 card series of these retro parallels. I have it in a binder. I'll probably shoot an episode on that someday, but for now, I went back and grabbed this one, just a second copy of this off Sport Lots, because it was hanging out there for just $1 or $2. And I think that's, a very special type of parallel there that is going to have a lot of meaning with collectors going forward, just because of how, positively viewed that 79 set is. And it's just really cool, as Ovechkin approaches Gretzky here. Whether or not he surpasses him remains to be seen, but it's just neat that as they're getting closer together in goal total, you can get an Ovi card that, has the same look and feel as the Gretzky rookie, right down to the back. So great job by the folks at Upper Deck on those. And that is our Ovechkin card for goal number 4 of the season. He's going later today at 1 p.m. Got an afternoon game, so you may be seeing more Ovi here sooner rather than later here on the channel. Let's take a look at what this is. As I said, some of these are going to be cards that I've had for many years. Others might be recent pickups that got kind of mixed in as I was sorting and resorting. Actually, I'm not going to hold this whole stack. This is a little bit much to wield there. Out of the gate, these are cards that I've had since I was a kid. So I was a starting lineup collector, like many kids of the late 80s, early 90s. And these baseball greats starting lineups, I had quite a few of them. It was 2 players, typically from the same team, and they were vintage, legends. And you received, obviously, the cards with the starting lineups, as you did with all starting lineups back then. So ended up breaking these out of the package years back just because I don't have the space, and I'm really not a starting lineup guy as an adult here. So kept the cards for the collection. A couple nice Cubs there, some Giants, McCovey. How about that Willie Mays starting lineup card? Nice one there. Of course, I had the Yankees, the Mick, and Joe D. So I don't think these really are valuable at all. But to me, it's all about nostalgia factor with those. Reminds me of driving around when I was a kid to different local retail big box stores, Kmart and Ames, for those of you that lived in the Northeast, and trying desperately to hunt down starting lineup figures with my brothers and my dad back in the day. So moving into a little short span of hockey here. This is a 96 Pinnacle Future Game Winners card featuring one of the bigger draft pick busts in modern NHL history, according to a lot of folks. But this one has a pretty cool 3D effect to it. Relatively certain I got that out of a quarter box at some point. Here's a couple of other cards that are from my childhood starting lineups. You can see here you've got the foil starting lineup logo here. You've got Brett Hull, and one of my favorite guys to collect on the hockey side of the house. Haven't shown too much of his stuff yet, but have a relatively impressive Yager collection. I've definitely got some to come from him. A little bit of shiny baseball here with a Daisuke out of Topps National Chicle. Say it how you will. This is numbered out of 999. Pretty cool. Daisuke was a big deal back in 2007, 2008. It's one of those cool studio gold credit card looking inserts of one-time American League MVP Mo Vaughn. Got a lot of Vaughn in the collection, having been a Red Sox team collector for many years. These are awesome. So back in the late 2000s, before the 2010s, Upper Deck did some masterpieces sets in the, I think across all sports, if I'm not mistaken, or at least the 4 major sports. Of course, I only really collected the baseball and hockey versions, but I love these canvas little works of art, and especially the ones that you see here. Looks like I've got 3 of them are framed. So they have this 3D frame. I don't know if it'll come across on film, but this green border is actually raised up off the card. You can see here, like where my thumb is here along the top, and it actually creates like a little frame, which really enhances the sort of small work of art impression that these give off. So these are really neat. I do look for these parallels to this day on ComC. I did complete the base set of masterpieces, I think both years that Upper Deck did it for baseball, but always in the market for these framed parallels. And what a great Ozzie Smith there. These are, I think, called like Windsor Green or something like that. There's a nice Ty Cobb karate kick sliding the catcher at home plate. And then this one is really awesome just because the green of the Oakland A's really complements the border well. So this is a beautiful Reggie Jackson there. Really cool cards. I should make an effort to get back on collecting some of those. Here's a Shine card that I got, I think, years back off ComC, maybe, but love these Heritage Chrome Refractors. For whatever reason, I think the 2013 and 2014 ones, which paid tribute to the 64 and 65 Topps releases, are like extra vibrant for some reason. I mean, the color on this is just unbelievable. This guy's an absolute lock for the Hall of Fame as soon as he's eligible here. And as soon as this video is done, I will be scanning this in and moving Beltre to his new home in my purple Z folio. Very nice addition to that Z. Here's another kind of shiny one that I'm happy about. I found this rummaging around my room. I've shown these Topps American Heritage Chrome cards in the recent past. I've had Duke Ellington, Edgar Allan Poe, some others that are escaping me, Harriet Tubman, Thomas Edison, just really cool cards. And I found this John Steinbeck novelist card. So I actually have had this one since probably 2009, 2010 when the set came out, and just tucked it in a box. I believe I actually pulled that from a pack, kind of tucked it away, and honestly forgot that I owned that card until grabbing this pile to shoot this video. Here's another nice one, Ichiro. This is an early career. Gotta love this shine out of Bowman's Best. I don't think this is a valuable card at all. It's probably like a 50-cent card or something, but man, if you're a fan of the shine, you could do a lot worse than that. The rainbow effect goes right over the player himself. Looks like Ichiro's head's on fire there. Pretty cool shiny card. These next few go together. So I've talked a few times about my love of the 89-90 Topps and O-Pee-Chee hockey release. It was the first set of cards that I ever collected, period. And certainly the first hockey cards that I ever collected. Used to open and trade packs of this stuff with my brothers. And still have my binder with my original 89-90s in it, which I showed off in the very first video in the history of this channel. So I've been working on getting some autographs of some of the subjects in recent years. Not really, there's not a lot of authenticated stuff out there in terms of like buybacks from this release. I do have a few, but I have a lot of in-person and TTM stuff just because like nobody's forging a lot of these guys. And I think for the ones we're looking at here, I paid $1 a piece. So I've got Mark Osborne of the Leafs, David Shaw. Love those Rangers sweaters back in the day with the Rangers written diagonally down the front. Here's a Rick Wamsley. Nice signature on this one. Really bold. Nice placement there by Rick. Got a Mario Marois, one of the funnier names of the 80s. Nice Quebec Nordique. And another nice signature there as well. I think I got all these from the same seller who was very reputable, just sort of in one lot. Here's another Nordique, Robert Picard. He wasn't exactly a world beater or anything, but as I said, I'll take any autograph from this set that I don't already own. And then my absolute favorite of the bunch, Hartford fan favorite for many years and should be member of the Hall of Fame in my biased opinion, Mr. Pat Verbeek, the little ball of hate, on one of the more infamously airbrushed cards of the era. That is some kind of shoddy work there by the folks at Topps and O-Pee-Chee, but yeah, half a dozen cool autos there. These are all from the O-Pee-Chee release that year, so happy to have those. And maybe could have done those as a Signature Sundays episode at some point, but I've got plenty of other autos to cover. Here's a young gun rookie of a guy who's had a pretty good career, Joe Pavelski, pictured here with the Sharks. I got this one years back. It was one of those sort of like impulse buys. I'm not really a huge like Sharks fan, being on the East Coast. I do respect Pavelski and his game, but anybody who's had even a decent career, getting their young gun is pretty significant. And as I said, I think I paid $20 or even less than $20 for this. Might have even been $10 a long while back. So there's my latest young gun pickup on the hockey front. I do have some pretty interesting young guns hanging around here at Shoebox Legends headquarters. Just haven't managed to get to those yet. Next up, I have a couple of guys of a couple printing plates, of a guy that I briefly collected, and I think there was a video response about this recently that I missed. But for a short while, I was an Adrian Gonzalez collector, and I know Pepino Man shares that trait with me, but I sort of fumbled around a little bit. So, when Bogaerts came into the league in 2013, he was my favorite player, and he has been from then on out. So I've been a Bogaerts fan and collector for about 8 years. And, prior to 2003, when the trade happened, Nomar was my favorite player for, about 7 or 8 years as well. But from 2003 to like 2013, that decade in the middle there, I didn't really have like one long-term favorite. I kind of bounced around a little bit. And so for a couple of years before Bogaerts, 2011, 2012, I was an Adrian Gonzalez guy. He was a really good contact hitter, a solid player, quiet and maybe a little bit odd, but I admired him, and there was, sort of slim pickings from the offensive side of the game as far as guys that looked like they might be around for a while. Beltre was there, but he only lasted like a season or a partial season. So anyway, I was a Gonzalez collector, and I have a couple of kind of rare ones here that I had picked up around the time, and I'm curious if any of you out there collect this type of thing for your guys or just in general, your teams maybe. So these are printing plates. This is from 2011, Allen and Ginter, and it is the plate that they used to make his mini card that year. And they take the mini plates and put them in the same like frame that they use for like the mini relics and other cards like that. You can see on the back, this is the actual cyan printing plate used to manufacture card number 120 in the 2011 Topps Allen and Ginter baseball release. So kind of cool. I mean, as a Red Sox collector, I thought this was neat and an interesting way to get a little bit of behind the scenes peek on how cards are produced and manufactured. I do think it's interesting that manufacturers made these plates available in recent years. It's not something that I go hardcore after. I only have a handful of printing plates in my whole collection. I think I've actually sold off some of the ones that I had from back in the day because they're really not all that intriguing to me any longer, but I do think they're interesting to a degree, and for whatever reason have held on to that Gonzalez plate. And then as a counterpart to that, obviously, it just kind of makes sense to show these at the same time. From the following season, the 2012 Allen and Ginter set, I have one of his plates as well, his mini plates. You can see it's very faint, this one. And it's not just the lighting, this is just a faint card. And it's just because this is the black printing plate, 1 of 1 from Ginter that year. And this card just didn't feature a ton of dark black on it. So it's not the world's greatest looking printing plate, but I think it's it's an interesting complement card to the 2011. It's kind of neat to have 2 Ginter plates, mini plates of the same guy from consecutive years. And of course, Gonzalez didn't last long. He was batched up and sent off to the Dodgers in that trade that relieved the Red Sox of Carl Crawford's contract, is I guess the best way I could put it. And so those 2 plates represent his only 2 seasons of Boston Red Sox cards being issued, mainstream cards being issued. So kind of neat to have a Allen and Ginter mini plate Gonzalez Red Sox era run. Hopefully I said that correctly. I got just 2 more cards here. They're both on the baseball front, both shiny. And they're both guys that were important members of the Red Sox. However, they're both cards from before their time with the Red Sox. So they share a little bit in common on that front. This one I am very proud of. This is a 1994 Topps Finest Refractor, Manny Ramirez. I got this many years back, maybe 6-7 years ago now. Even then, I was stunned to get this at the price that I did. I paid $10 for this with free shipping. This is not a 93, obviously, which are the most desired, the inaugural Finest Refractors. But I believe the 94 and maybe even the 95 to be like almost equally rare to the 93, maybe not as much in demand, but really, really happy with this card. Manny, he may not make the haul because of some issues and some antics, but was a really fun guy to watch, who had a lot of important moments as a Boston Red Sox player later in his career. And just check this etching through the Cleveland on the jersey there. Love it. Topps made much nicer shiny cards back then than they do now, in my opinion. But happy to have that. Finest Refractors are really iconic as far as the 90s go, if you ask me. And I think prices in recent years have really backed that up. These have gotten crazy. So I got to make sure after this video to free Manny here from his scotch taped top loader that he's been sitting in since I bought him. And I'll get him into a nice one touch. So that'll display a little nicer. And then the final card is one that I picked up only recently. I think I got this off of either eBay or Sportlots. But it features Pedro Martinez, who I'm trying to make an effort to collect a little bit more. And I misspoke earlier. This is actually from his time after the Boston Red Sox, not before. But check out this refractor out of 2007 Topps Chrome. Love the black border that was used in the 2007 release. This release is memorable to me because 2007 is when I got back into the hobby as an adult for the first time after about a 10-year break from 96 or 97. And so 2007 Topps were the first cards that I was buying packs of and sort of hand collating and getting a feel for the hobby again. So I've always loved this release and absolutely got a deal that I couldn't pass up on this Pedro refractor at less than $5 shipped to my door. So that's a wrap. This went really, really long. It's a little bit bigger rummage than I expected, and I know I tend to gab, but appreciate you sticking with me for almost 20 minutes here. I hope everybody listening or watching has a wonderful weekend ahead, and I will certainly be back in the near future with some more sports card content. Until then, take care.